Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm finally going to be reviewing Bendy and the Ink Machine. Now I'm very sorry for all of the delay that has been going on. There was a couple of minor technical difficulties, but thankfully I was able to sort everything out. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and there will be a video for Sunday as well, because last week I didn't think I had enough of food items to review, so I didn't really do a video. So thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below what you think I should review next. I got a couple of videos planned ahead. I'm really excited to start making them, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Alright guys, take care. Bye. Bendy and the Ink Machine by the Meatly Games, LDT. Warning: flashing lights and horror elements not for the epileptic and faint of heart for playing this game. Spoiler warning: this video contains spoilers for all 5 chapters, including the ending, and a secret for chapters 3 and 5 for this game. I will be making timestamps where to avoid spoilers in case one does not want to see the game-changing parts. It is 1963, and classic cartoons of all times are the next biggest thing. Looney Tunes, Disney's Silly Symphony, and more were all striving to create cartoons to entertain children and adults with their lovely content. You play the role of Henry Stein, a co-producer of the well-renowned cartoon studio that goes by the name of Joey Drew Studios, a cartoon studio that is also partially owned by Joey Drew himself. For the sake of keeping it short, we shall be referring to Joey Drew Studios as JDS. Henry Stein, wanting to pursue a life which involves his family much more, leaves the company after giving his all to the studio, leaving Joey Drew to officially own the studio in his own accord. However, years after, as technology enhances throughout the decade, as well as darkness befalling the studio, Joey calls Henry to return to the studio to see what has developed. Things have taken a dramatically dark turn when Henry sees the writing on the walls, the highly advanced ink-based tech, and the devilish abominations that lurk about. Chapter 1: Moving Pictures. As Henry enters the studio, it already seems to put an eerie feeling in the minds and hearts of players. Ink is splattered everywhere. The place looks like it was abandoned in a rush, and not a soul seems to reside within sight. Henry must navigate the ground floor of the studio to turn on the power, activate the ink machine, and finally investigate the studio. However, after Henry manages to get power of JDS up and running, he is immediately chased towards the exit by a demonic entity that resembles the beloved character named Bendy the Demon, yet this version is much more beastly and deformed. He is tall, lanky, dripping in ink, and resonating with pure evil content. Before Henry can make it to the exit, he falls through the poorly kept floorboards, landing in a lower level of the studio. With nowhere else to go, Henry must go deeper into this rabbit hole to find a way out of this hell that was painted with a fresh new coat of inky black. Chapter 2: The Old Song. In this chapter, Henry must go through the music and voice acting studio in order to try discovering more about the occurrences of the studio itself. Henry encounters a rather dark figure looming about. He later discovers this figure's identity is actually Sammy Lawrence, who later captures you as a sacrifice to the Ink Demon. Sammy is the creator of all the music that is behind those cartoons that feature Bendy the Demon, Boris the Wolf, and Alice Angel. He has been so obsessed with this Ink Demon that he has begun to worship him as if he were a god of sorts. Sammy wishes the Ink Demon to deliver him from the inky corruption and give him salvation for the bloody sacrifices that he has made to appease the beast, but he learns fast that the ink demon doesn't need loyalty or subjects to become powerful. He attacks Sammy, giving you a chance to escape and run clear from the room after regaining your trusty axe. After a while of running, the chase ends and Henry is left face to face with a familiar, friendly face of a wolf that goes by the name of Boris. Boris brings Henry to the safe house he has made, carrying Henry there as he presumably passes out from exhaustion. Chapter 3: Rise and Fall. Henry awakens inside of Boris' safe house kept deep into JDS to prevent anyone from getting hurt. The place is completely locked up, but you are thankfully able to escape with Boris' help. Boris is really hungry, so he requires you to cook up something for him to eat, that being 3 cans of bacon soup. In return, Boris will give you the lever of the door to the safe house. Henry and Boris both wander out of the safe house and help each other get through these broken down halls. Sadly, Henry and Boris need to split up for a short period of time, leaving Henry to venture alone for a bit while Boris finds a way to reunite with him. Henry finds himself trapped within a room that seemed to be based around Alice Angel, merchandise and signs all about. However, things suddenly go dark as he tries to find a way out. This is when Henry is met face to face with the vicious veil of Alice Angel. Yet somehow it is warped and twisted to portray her wicked new personality. Half of her face is beautiful and perfect, yet the other half is melting and horrifying. After she makes her presence known, Henry is forced to follow the tasks she gives him if he wants to survive and make it out of this area. Here's a secret. After coming along the forked path of demon and angel, pick the demon path and stay alive. If you die, you must restart the chapter. If you complete all of these tasks from Alice Angel, she will send you a Tommy gun to fight an entity called Projectionist in one of the last tasks. After Henry finishes the task, Alice Angel seems to allow Henry and Boris to escape, but she suddenly drops the elevator and allows it to crash to the ground. Spoiler alert. As Boris begins to frantically attempt to wake Henry up from his daze, Alice Angel steals away Boris, wishing to take him for extracting his perfections to make herself more beautiful and closer to her intended image. Chapter 4: Colossal Wonders. Spoiler alert. If you wish to keep the spoilers from Chapter 3 untold, please skip to Chapter 5's timestamp. A while after Henry wakes up, he makes it his duty to save Boris from the sinister clutches of the angel. In order to free Boris, Henry must go through the small carnival-based area and play certain games to unlock doors that turn on the power to the haunted house attraction that Alice Angel is holding Boris hostage within. There are 4 levers that restore the power. One is located through a booth with a target shooting game with a cork gun. Another one is where Henry must sneak past a few enemies using stealth and empty cans to attract enemies to the sound of the clanking. A third, you must fight against a living carnival ride that's possessed by the mind and soul of the only one behind all of the sinister-looking carnival area. His name is Bertram Piedmont, a man that wanted to become truly famous for his creative genius of making a whole amusement park based off of Silly Vision's Bendy the Demon series. However, he becomes overzealous in creating a fame more powerful than Joey Drew's, causing himself to be let go from the company. Since his release, Bertram has implanted his very soul into his greatest creation, a boss fight that is easy to take out by simply whacking the bolts on the arms whenever they become vulnerable, and dodging them whenever they get too close. After taking down Bertram, Henry must encounter the projectionist one last time as he tries to turn on the power in the cartoony train station-based area. As Henry is about to hide, the Ink Demon attacks the projectionist and beheads them, leaving Henry to stay in the locker he hid in until the Ink Demon walks away. Finally, when Henry gets the power supplied to the haunted house, he enters a cart and is made to drive through the attraction until he reaches a U-turn kind of room that looks like a ballroom of sorts. Before he can leave, the cart is suddenly stopped by an absolute abomination that can only be described as a fragmented memoir of what was once Boris. Brute Boris, as the creature is named, is the Frankenstein's monster-inspired beast that Alice has created thanks to defiling Boris's body to get that of which would make herself perfect. After defeating Brute Boris, Alice Angel will try to run towards you from the exit to try and kill you, but she is quite literally stabbed through the back by a new figure. As Alice Angel falls to the ground, you see two new figures that appear to be Alice and Boris. Chapter 5: The Last Reel. The two figures from Chapter 4 have brought Henry to a prison due to fears of Henry possibly being dangerous. Alice, which is the name of the female figure, claims that she is supposed to be the true Alice Angel, yet she is no angel from what she believes. She tells how this secondary character may have taken the form of Boris, but he certainly is different in personality and slightly different in strength. This Boris goes by the name of Tom, due to that being the name that he only responds to, not Boris. On his left side, his arm is replaced with a mechanical one from the electronics ward in Chapter 4. He must have lost his arm during combat. Does not seem surprising. Tom seems to be the muscle and business side of the duo, while Alice appears to be the brains and compassion of the two. Here's a secret. Alice will show you a unique device that's like a small window with special glass. If you look through this device, you can see secret messages throughout the game if you happen to play with the game again on the same save file. However, if you look at Alice's head, you will actually see a true golden halo that isn't visible without the device. Turns out she really is an angel at heart, for her intentions are true and good-natured. Tom really doesn't trust Henry and pretty much is on board with abandoning Henry as the Ink Demon tracks to prison after Tom makes the foolish decision to leave the prison to look for supplies way too soon. Henry can use the window device to escape the prison, leading him down a tunnel that leads directly to a massive lake with a boat. Henry must follow the river of ink in this boat, but is later attacked by a massive hand-like creature that tries to pull the boat down under the inky waters below. To escape this creature, remove the ink blots that collect on the paddle on the back of the boat. Once Henry is off the boat at last, he manages to find a small town-like set of structures that kinda seems like the old Wild West with their shrinky shacks. As Henry begins to head to what appears to be a boarded-up doorway, an old face quickly bursts through the boards to attack you, claiming the Ink Demon has betrayed him. Sammy Lawrence has survived the attack from the Ink Demon. Take down his health enough and Henry will be put into a cutscene where Sammy is about to kill him, but is suddenly killed by none other than Tom by using an axe. Tom helps Henry up and sees Alice by their side. After this cutscene, Henry, Alice, and Tom must survive a massive onslaught of enemies. If you die, don't worry. The battle will leave off where you were last killed, giving you a lot of ability to progress throughout the fight without the loss of progress. When the battle finishes, you are tasked to lead the way to the next area. However, once again, you take a fall through the weak floorboards and have to go through a tedious puzzle sequence of collecting ink blots from a well to bring to a machine in order to make certain pipes in a puzzle to drain the room. All the while, the Butcher Gang is chasing you down and you have no weapons. By the way, the Butcher Gang are typical antagonists in the Bendy the Demon show. You encounter these guys in chapters 2 through 5 of the game. While you are doing this task, you can actually see exactly what happens to have spawned the ink abominations, including Alice Angel's creation and the arrival of the ink demon himself. Susie Campbell was the original voice actor of Alice Angel. She had grown such an obsession and connection with Alice Angel that she quite literally wanted to ascend into one herself. Due to some wicked experiments, Joey Drew has actually transformed Susie Campbell into a rendition of Alice Angel that had a soul as well as the deadly obsessions of being perfectly molded to the idea of Alice Angel herself. Her deadly obsessions lead her to a devilish path that led to death, destruction, and her own well-deserved demise. Joey Drew wanted to make the ink machine in order to make all the characters lifelike and fun mascots for the whole world to see. He wanted to have an invention that was groundbreaking to the point of where only his cartoons could actually hold the illusion of living. However, this brought forth soulless abominations that mildly took the form of the beloved characters he hoped so dearly to bring to life, essentially creating a portal where a real demon would appear, not their family-friendly creations that they desired. Once completing this puzzle, you will enter a room where the ink demon's lair is just beyond the doors. Here's a scene that ensues that I found really funny.
Oh.
How did you get down here?
It pays to carry a rope. You should try it.
Look, I know where we have to go, but it's not going to be pleasant. The ink demon has something that we need. I'm going after him.
You want to go to his lair? Are you crazy? That's death.
That's where the trail seems to lead.
Well, it's probably close by. Probably through that door. But it won't be easy to open. I'll need 3 gears, a crowbar.
After this scene, Henry
some
needs
kind
to
of
follow the hall
counterbalance.
ahead and sees the true ink machine, which is
Well,
the
that works
size
too.
of a mansion.
I guess.
This machine is pumping out an ocean of this horrible ink. You must enter the ink machine alone, due to the others not being able to join you on your quest because of their ink-based body composition. As Alice states herself, a water drop dropped in the ocean is rarely seen again. When you enter the machine, you must finally confront the ink demon. You see his true form, known as Beast Bendy. You must avoid the charging demon that runs through the halls at high speeds. You must flip a series of switches in order to open up the next room. The next room has 4 massive tubes of ink that power the ink machine itself. Make the beast charge into the glass tubes to break all 4 in order to open the final room. Once you break all 4, he will disappear momentarily, long enough for you to get to the last room. At last, in order to kill the ink demon, you must interact with a film roll that forces the beast to finally watch his curtains close. As the ink demon watches his own end, the entity begins to lose control and strength. Dying at last to the sight of his own show's end, you enter a new scene that looks awfully different from the rest of the game. You are in Joey Drew's home, and you can interact with Joey himself. He talks about how he had raised a crooked empire, while Henry had raised a loving family. He asks Henry to visit the Joey Drew studios in order to see what has happened, making a full loop of the game as Henry tries to leave. He suddenly appears at the front door of the studio, essentially creating a prologue of sorts for the game. Final review, 39.4 out of 50 stars. The graphics were a 7.8 out of 10. The graphics were something I really enjoyed. The pencil-drawn style of the game was so fun to walk through since I am a massive fan of old cartoons like this game portrays. I really wish the little prologue at the end of the game did keep the style though. It didn't really make sense to see the sudden change of the graphics become suddenly more realistic compared to the 3D cartoony style of before. On top of that, I really liked how the reused textures really blended in well with the surroundings. The character design was a 7.3 out of 10. I loved all the character designs, however I found that there was a lack of scare factor after fighting the same enemies over and over. You easily expect it when the enemies pop up suddenly, but I really love how the ink demon would spawn seemingly at random to suddenly chase you down or force you into hiding into lockers. My favorite designs were the ink demon, Alice Angel, and the Butcher gang members. Sound design was a 9 out of 10. I love the music in which this game has. The music on the radios around is always so fun. The intense soundtrack always keeps you on edge and always keeps you on your toes. I didn't see many flaws at all either. The gameplay was 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed how many puzzles there were. However, Chapter 3's usage of the elevator was really annoying to hop between floors. Taking the stairs was both slower and riskier than the elevator, so it was either slow safety or even slower, riskier paths to the objectives. The story was a 7.3 out of 10. I thought the plot was kinda hard to follow until the final chapter, where everything suddenly came together. There are some unusual parts of the plot that weren't really explained that much, like how the ink machine had made a portal to another dimension. Another part I found very odd was why Bertram Piedmont wanted to make an amusement park for a dying TV show when merchandise wasn't really making any sales as stated in Chapter 2. The ending seemed rather short-lived and way too simple. I wish there was more of a boss fight at the end rather than just running away. However, all in all, it was a really fun game that I have played probably 5 times by now. Hello everyone, I'd like to give a special thank you to my parents, my girlfriend, and my friends who are frequent viewers of my content. Every day I am inspired by them to make more content that everyone can enjoy and learn from. I hope you enjoyed this content. Please like, share, and subscribe for more. Now, in the great words of Wally Franks from all of those audio logs in Bendy and Ink Machine, I'm outta here.